Star Citizen Alpha 3.16 is planned to hit the live servers on or before the 24th of December. More vaguely, actually, sometime next week. However, there have been some changes to the patch, and Cloud Imperium have made some statements about some delayed features and what's happening. So, what do they say? Star Citizen Alpha 3.15 took longer to get out the door than we had initially planned, which has limited the amount of time we have to stabilize 3.16's code base. For this reason, we've opted to branch from the 3.15 development stream to avoid risking overall stability, which has been the best we've had in years. Taking this approach means we'll be operating on the same code base that's currently on the live servers, while manually integrating 3.16 features, specifically those we deem low risk to integrate. It was important for us to try and limit content moving back a full quarter to Alpha 3.17, as we're eager for all of you to have refreshing and engaging content to play over the holiday break and into early next year. For this reason, in addition to next week's release, we also plan to release a content patch 3.16.1 when we return from holiday break. This patch will include some of the content that we were unable to integrate before holidays. So, what's moving out? The new derelict spaceship points of interest and laser trip mines are now planned for 3.16.1 in January. DNA head upgrades and mining gadgets have been pushed all the way back to the March Q1 2022 patch in Alpha 3.17. So Area 18's hospitals, the Dying Star update, Gravlev updates, Jumptown, they've all been confirmed to make that initial 3.16 release. This is a bit odd, however, because some of these features, like the laser trip mines and the derelict spaceships, they were showing as committed for 3.16. Now, you could say, well, actually, they're committed for the 3.16 branch, and some of these are still coming in 3.16.1. However, what happened about mining gadgets? I'm pretty sure that they were confirmed and committed for 3.16. Now, obviously, features do get pushed back, and this is an example of that. It's going to happen if it's going to happen. There's no point in whining about it. But, and this is where I have a little bit of a whine, because it's fine to have a little bit of a whine. So, this patch has obviously had features pushed out. It was a light patch anyway, and I think people were expecting a bit more from it. There was delays with 3.15, as the Cloud Imperium have said, and it's caused a bit of a knock-on effect with 3.16, even though there should have been specific teams working on 3.16. There's obviously a lot of connection between the two patches, and as Cloud Imperium have said, I would actually prefer a playable patch over holiday break, over Christmas and New Year, than something that's broken. So yeah, that's fair enough. Put some of those extra bits and bobs that might be a bit more unstable or aren't finished in 3.16.1. Yeah, makes sense. Star Citizen's development is very slow and delays happen often. Now, is one of the things that's going to help alleviate this the giant studio expansions that are starting next year? Quite possibly. I mean, that could be something they've seen. Look, we actually need to get a lot more of this done a lot quicker. We need to expand the studios, and that's what they're doing. So 3.16, a little bit disappointing in new features for sure, but it could be quite good for gameplay if Jumptown's done well, if they reactivate, as they apparently are, the Ninetales lockdown, and there's a lot of accessibility there. If I could play all the missions without them all imploding, fantastic. And with that in mind, we've actually had a new 3.16.0E PTU patch, which I'll go over quickly now. Gravlev has been receiving various bits of polish for that through various bits of iteration on the 3.16 PTU and feedback. So yeah, bit of a polish pass. Bikes should not get flung into the air nearly as much when touching geometry side on, such as rocks or buildings, which is fantastic. Invisible suspension is now far better at ignoring meshes, such as rocks, plants, and so on. Bikes should no longer be able to hover on the side of walls and get pushed away from them. Bouncing or oscillating in certain places, for example New Babbage, should no longer occur. Speed limiter should no longer affect height control. Height control should no longer cause the bike to oscillate or shake. Bikes should no longer get flung into the air when disembarking. That's good, because I get flown off into the distance and die. Bikes should not be randomly or unfairly exploded anymore, nor should they take damage unfairly. Hover height is now shown on the HUD where altitude would be. Default speed limiter speeds have now been lowered slightly. Hopefully a few little more tweaks can get done to Gravlev before the 3.16 release, but it's actually, on paper, at least, very good. There's been a mounted gun polish pass, making them more in line like an infantry suppression weapon. This will reduce projectile velocity and RPM, reduce projectiles damage per hit, and reduce projectile weight. This will reduce force reactions on players, as well as giving projectiles a higher spread. But they also greatly increased how long players can fire the weapon before it shuts down or overheats or whatever. So it's a proper just keep on shooting sort of platform for, as they said earlier, suppression. Some more bug fixes have been done. They've added service unavailable messages when the service request for searching friends fails. And they fixed an issue causing underground bunker missions to not count kills towards the mission objective. They fixed further issues with bounty hunter missions stalling indefinitely if you leave an area before it updates on slow servers. Social AI should no longer have difficulty navigating past the archway assets at Area 18 and the hospital entrance. Replacement textures should no longer be seen on the base of various exterior art assets of Jumptown locations. They fixed an issue causing emergency elevators to not send a valid player to the hospital once the Admit Patients UI had been activated. Area 18 hospital pharmacy kiosks should now populate with items for purchasing, so you can actually use them now. Vending machines should no longer trap you to the hospital in Area 18 either. So there's still some known issues that Cloud Imperium need to get fixed for that live build, like being able to add friends on the front menu, repairing and refueling issues, medical beds not healing. Some of these are pretty game-breaking, so getting them fixed is good. Obviously, they need to get performance up and stability up as much as possible, but as they said, they're branching it out directly, well, effectively directly from 3.15's branch, so it should be a lot more stable and performant, I suppose. So we'll have to wait and see. In some other roadmap news, we've had some new features added to the progress tracker. Lockable containers will add the ability for designers to lock entities with either physical or electronic locks, which can then be opened with a key or forced opened via cutting, destroying or hacking the lock. Interesting lootable items basically there. So find a cool chest. Ooh, what's the code? FPS devices tier 1 as well is another feature. While throwable and consumable devices already exist within Star Citizen as grenades and medipens, further work on this system will enable them to easily create new items with different effects when used. This includes the development of deployable devices or items that can be carried around as part of player loadout, equipped and deployed onto the surface. So more cool items for various purposes, whether they be FPS gameplay or missions. Both these pieces of work or features are planned for completion in Q3 2022 to some extent. We don't know when they're actually going to be integrated in the patch, because typically they'll go forward to Squadron 42 first and be iterated on and then pushed out to the PU, but not always. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen news today. We are expecting a new Gravlev-based vehicle or ship to be revealed in the next week or so, and potentially for that to actually be flyable in 3.16. You could see some extra 3.16 missions and bits like that. And obviously we've got things like atmospheric bounty hunting and stuff like that as part of it. And so lots of little bits that might turn up. Though I'm not ecstatic about these features that have slipped. I have said in my last few videos, though, that this was something that I had expected. A smaller, hopefully stable patch for 3.16 at the end of the year, and a small 3.16.1 update in January. Mining gadgets were a surprise that they slipped for me, because I did actually think they were mostly ready, but obviously not ready enough. We should be getting both updated Ninetales and Jumptown event for 3.16 though, so that may keep me busy, but it's going to be dependent on the stability and accessibility of all those missions and how 3.16 actually plays when live. But what do you think? Are you enjoying 3.16 on the PTU? Are you excited for the live build, or is it the worst possible timeline? Have you tried Jumptown version 2 or 2.0, whatever you want to call it? What could the new Gravlev vehicle or ship be? Is it a mobile refinery? Is it something entirely different? Is it just a bike? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Ho ho ho, I'm a fat man with a beard, and I'm gonna sneak down your chimney and give you
NordVPN. That's right, I'm BoredGamer. I am that fat man with a beard. And it's Nordmas. So what do you want in your stocking for Nordmas, little Timmy? I want NordVPN, with its useful security, privacy and locational spoofing features. I also want a racing car set. Of course you do, but as I'm not sponsored by Racing Car Set, maybe you should shut your little mouth, Tim. Merry Nordmas! For December, we are giving away an Origin 400i with a Star Citizen game package and lifetime insurance. This is a luxury multi-role explorer ship for 1 to 3 players to run together. It's like a little yacht in space. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during December. If you'd like to further support the channel, please consider clicking that join button underneath my videos. You can also become a Patreon or even donate. Thank you so much for watching, please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.